Good evening, friends. Welcome to Career Conclave 2020 by HLS India, media partner, The School Times. We are right now going live, simulcasted on HLS India Facebook page, YouTube channel, School Times Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Periscope, that is Twitter, at the same time. And you're all welcome to this day two of Career Conclave 2020. As you all know, that HLS India has been in this business of helping individuals and institutions to bring out the best in them in the education fraternity, setting up schools, colleges for clients, managing and running schools and colleges for clients, providing mental health and the wellness services to people across the country and beyond through its psychological services clinic, mental wellness clinics, and psychodiagnostic services, as well as providing career counseling and aptitude testing and other provisions. And this year has been a challenging year for all of us. Pandemic COVID-19 has made all of us reinvent. We are more or less becoming digital natives nowadays, and HLS India, in its commitment to bring out the best and keeping the young minds informed and aware about themselves, about their life, about their social wellness, personal wellness, mental wellness, as well as career wellness. We have decided to continue with the trend that we have set and go virtual and continue with the Career Conclave 2020. And we had our inaugural session yesterday, and I very thankful for an amazing response by the people coming in the live mode and beyond. We have outreached in thousands just yesterday on day one itself, hoping for connectivity and reach out, because the whole purpose is to provide young minds an opportunity to interact with practicing professionals from their respective fields. And in this journey, we have reached out at different parts of the country and tried to bring people who have become success stories in their own right. And on day two, in this 4 o'clock slot, we have Mr. Praveen Kumar, resident editor, Times of India, Lucknow, and also he's a best-selling author. He has, just about 2 years back, come up with a book, A Rise of Saffron Socialism, which has, within no time, it was seen on almost every table in every body's hand. And he is, an avid thinker. Community service comes very natural to him. Hardcore academician, a purist when it comes to media and journalism. And he, for last 3 decades, he has been serving in the field of media and journalism, and currently he is at the helm of affairs for Times of India in Lucknow as resident editor for the same. And we have him today and his journey. I would also like to thank our audience, because we are getting a lot of recommendation and requests that we should bring professionals from XYZ careers as well. And we would be very happy to let you know that we are adding, so far our session was from 19th to 23rd. We are adding one more day. It's going to be till 24th. So that will be our Christmas gift to everyone, bringing in few more professionals to interact with young minds. We are going to take up careers in sports, career in radio, career in economics. We are going to take up career in law. We have professionals from Bollywood who have been involved with some of the most popular 300 plus crore projects, talking to you about career in Bollywood. So we are trying to bring different genres. But without any further delay, allow me to invite Mr. Praveen Kumar. And we have a few students already connected with us from different schools across the country. But then I would also like to apologize to our audience, as well as some of the young friends. I could see that internet connectivity, because our friends are connecting from their mobiles, the students. So some of them are having the technical difficulty of connecting, but as many are able to join, we will take their questions and queries, give them opportunity to ask and interact with our experts. So let us invite Mr. Praveen Kumar without any further ado. Ladies and gentlemen, you are right now watching Career Conclave 2020 by HLS India, media partner, The School Times. Very good evening to you, Praveenji. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Career Conclave 2020 and आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. Thank you so much for finding time, and I am really thrilled to hear your response when I said it's for young minds sharing your experience. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah. Pleasure is mine.
So shall we begin our journey of interaction?
Yeah. Of course.
And before we go on, Praveenji, I would like you to know that the whole purpose of this Career Conclave 2020 is getting our young minds to and our viewers, our parents, to get to talk and interact and experience the life in a career. हम लोग करियर के बारे में बहुत कुछ जानते हैं, सुनते हैं, किताबों में पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन अंदर जाने के बाद क्या होता है वो किताबों से पढ़ के नहीं पता चल पाता है. And that is why we would like to understand through you.
What I, despite we are in 2020, well, I'm not referring 2020 to some other context. I'm referring 2020 in the context of the year, like we are the 20th year of the 20th century. But I started career in '95, like 25 years ago. So, but still, there's a huge gap between the industry and what is taught in the classroom. I still find, because I've been associated with the academics also. I've been teaching at a university. Of late, I'm not going because of the time crunch. But what I have found that what we do in newsrooms and what is taught in the classroom, there has to be some parity, but there is a huge gap. The gap of knowledge, gap of like how like it's our teaching is still quite theory based, and practical things are not taught as much as they should have been.
And that is, even when the people who are training people to become, journalists or media professionals, they themselves, as you say, is a gap. There's a huge gap when these youngsters are taking their decision for career. They are seeing more of the outer things rather than getting an in-depth understanding for the career.
Right.
So, I would like to ask you, when you were at that young age and when you were taking your decision for career, so how did you decide to go for journalism as your career?
When I was in this stage, that was early 90s. Right. And it's not that I was very I was very decided and very quite in advance that I will do this or I'll do that. I was also, as a very normal young man, I was also quite indecisive till I was I did my graduation, 3-year graduation in 1990. And then I did post-graduation history in 1992. Till then, I was, I practically all those doing PG in art subjects in humanities. Their ultimate goal used to be civil services. So I was also
civil services used to be a national pastime at that time.
I was also basically eyeing, but thing when I did my PG, I was not eligible for civil services because I was less than 21 at the time. So I did the PG a little earlier than normal age limit for the post graduation. So, but after doing post graduation, I found that I had this knack for writing. which I
Okay.
discovered. So before I could take my next step, it so happened that Lucknow University started a course in mass communication. So that was
Okay.
kind of godsend for me. So you
Right.
can see that that was the moment I decided what I have to do. So I enrolled myself, and then you won't believe I haven't taken the civil services even once.
Right.
So,
I think it was Lucknow University started mass communication in the year 91, 92, or something like that.
92,
Right.
94, ours was the first batch. It
First batch.
started from one room in Lucknow University, and there was
Okay.
all the teachers were there was no permanent teacher. All the teachers were either professionals or who teach on contract. So,
All right.
so those were the days when we started our
All
mass
right.
education
So,
in
so
mass communication.
basically, you felt when you realized that you have a knack for writing. That's when you started thinking about mass communication as one of
No,
your
no,
approach.
yeah. When I realized that the full time journalism may not be happening on my mind. I thought that it will help me in writing essays for in civil services examination. So
Okay.
so we can say that it's a kind of a coincidence that a mass comm course started at the time, and I
Right.
joined the groups, and in the 2 years I was in the I did the course. I had interaction with good journalists who could inspire me to take it as a full-time career. So
Right.
because there are not many my classmates who didn't check. They did post graduation in mass communication, but they didn't go for journalism as their full-time career. They did some become
Okay.
civil servants, some became doctors. So you know.
All right. So the people went into diverse field, and you chose to
Yeah,
get into
yeah.
journalism.
We got a few of them from that batch who stuck to this as a career.
Right. Absolutely. And this also prompts me to ask that once you got into journalism, when you must have had some image of journalism, and when you got into journalism, did you find it different from what you thought, and what actually one has to do in mass media and journalism? What is the profession like?
No, as I said earlier, that there's a huge difference between the industry and the classroom. So
Right.
it's happened, same thing happened with us also.
Right.
We could adapt it a bit uh, quickly because we used to go to newspapers and you interact with journalists. So we had that. If had it been stuck to the classroom teaching, I don't think we would have advanced much in the field. But since it is our initiative, we used to interact with journalists. We used to see how the real thing is done. So
Right.
that really helped us. And
Right.
this is the ultimate question. This is always like acting. In journalism also, it is said that uh, the actors are born, or acting can be taught. Same
Right.
thing is asked in journalism also. Journalists are they are born journalists. Like, journalism can't be taught. Like there are schools of thought which says that journalism can't be taught.
Okay.
Journalists are always born. Like you have an instinct
Right.
you're born with an instinct as a journalist. It can be taught. So it is true, but journalism can't be taught is also not true. It's both. I'll say both are correct. Like one is born with one instinct, and that instinct can be honed at the
Absolutely.
schools of mass communication.
And I think a lot of born journalists have who were not in the field of journalists suddenly have become journalists with through social media platforms during the
Yeah,
COVID-19 times. You'll find a lot of people coming up.
yeah. It's like social media is we say that it's a double-edged sword. It has revolutionized journalism, but it's also given rise to fake news. So
It has dangerous manifestations as well. Right. So, Praveen, we have few students also here because we believe that it will be a good idea to get students to talk and ask questions as well. because उनके जो सवाल होंगे वो शायद बहुत सारे और students because हम सबको इस platform पे नहीं ला सकते, but those who are coming here, their question will be representative and their age appropriate inquiry. So we have a few students joining here, and I could see that some of their cameras and the connection is not working. Saransh, if you are listening to me, I would request you to reconnect with your camera and audio connection, and we'll take you up. In the meantime, we have Rahul Botra of Delhi Public School, Mega City, and Anushka, Delhi Public School, Mega City, Kolkata, West Bengal, and we have Anushka Sharma connecting with us from who is a student of DAV Gurugram Sector 49, Gurugram from NCR region. So we have two different corners, students whose camera connectivity is working well. We'll take them up with us and have an interaction with them as well. So do I have your permission to take them on?
Yeah, of course.
And I would also like to encourage our audience, those of you who are here, not with us on screen, feel free to put up your questions and queries related to media and mass communication and journalism. And as many we can answer, we'll take the advantage of presence of Mr. Praveen Kumar, resident editor of Times of India, Lucknow. All right, Anushka, welcome to HLS India's Career Conclave 2020. Rahul, welcome. Anushka, welcome. I could see Saransh also could connect. There's a signal issue, but he's there with us. Saransh Singh is connecting. Saransh Singh Rawat, Bluebells Model School from Gurugram, NCR region, is also connecting with us. I think there's a signal issue. The moment the signal sorted, we'll take him up again. So Anushka and Rahul, you were listening to us. You have Mr. Praveen Kumar with us. So platform is yours. Feel free to ask your questions. I'll go first to Rahul from DPS Mega City. Rahul, over to you.
Good evening, sirs.
Hi, Rahul.
Sir, I would like to ask a question. You had a profession of journalism for the past 20-25 years or so.
Yeah.
So, you have developed a writing style which is unique to yours. So, can you give us some tips to improve a writing style so that we can become avid journalists and we can improve our way of thinking and writing?
Praveenji, before you answer this question, I would just add and expand Rahul's question. What are the writing skills that they need to build up to be a good, successful journalist or a writer, and also what he has asked you about your writing skills specifically?
So writing has a lot to do with the language, and it's no brainer that it's language, strong language is required. What is more required is how much do you read? If you want to become a good writer, you have to be a very good reader, because if there is no input, there can't be an output. If you don't read, you can't build your vocabulary just by reading dictionaries or roting word meanings. It builds up when you read. We read from the various great writers and different magazines and different newspapers. When you take ingredients from them, you take inputs from them. What happens? It builds up a kind of a backup in your unconscious. And when you start writing, it all comes flowing to your to your pen, to your keyboard, because you know that you've seen such uses in writing of, say, some good reporter, or a good author, or a good, media person. So reading is very important. If you don't read, rest assured your writing cannot be built. That is for sure. And because because just you think that out of blue and out of nothing you will start writing. It doesn't happen like that. For writing well, you have to read a lot, number one. Number two, you have to decide that what kind of writing you want to do. You want to become a novelist, you want to become a journalist, a reporter, a newspaper reporter, you want to become a creative writer, you want to become a script writer, you want to become, there are lots of, there are no dearth of streams. So you have to target, you have to set your goal, that what kind of writing you want to do, right? Rahul, what is your interest? What kind of writing you are looking at?
So I want to become an automotive journalist.
Automotive journalist, right? So first, of course, it goes without saying that you have to read a lot about automation and
Yes, sir.
automotive technical aspects of this, because you will be able to write in the reader's language only when you have a command over both language and the technology. Only then you can understand it, and you will be able to reproduce in such a manner that it's very well comprehensible to the target readers. So because the, writing in an automotive magazine, for an auto magazines, it can't be writing for of an English prose. It has to be very lucid, and it has to be very the language has to be very common man and interesting. So so the writing will your writing will be depend on the stream you want to adopt. Like writing for a screenplay will be different, right? Writing for a city newspaper will be different. So first you have to set your goal, that what kind of writing you want to do.
All right. This prompts me to ask you a question, Mr. Praveen, that you have on one side you are doing your reporting and editorial writing, which a newspaper generally does, and on the other side you are also an author of a very, very popular book. So book writing and journalistic writing, how are they two different fields altogether? What is the difference in these two fields?
I'll say that it's both are antithesis to each other. In newspapers, we concise. In books, we expand. So in newspaper,
Okay.
what has to be said in 3,000 words, it has to be concise to 300 words. And in a book, what is there in 200 words, it has to be expanded to 2,000 words. So
It's
they are antithesis. So again, I mentioned earlier that you have to decide at what kind of writing you want to do. So in my case, you can understand my my position, that I have whole life I have been cutting speeches, cutting newspaper reports, and in book, while writing book, I have to expand like something out of
uh,
nothing.
so
So
in journalistic writing, you are more into pressy writing at a
yeah,
student language, if we
yeah,
use, and in book writing, you are more into narrative and essay writing.
yeah, you have to expand.
That's and these are, and you've so beautifully put and explained that in the book writing you expand, and in the journalistic writing, in report writing for a newspaper or magazine, you try and put and you try to make a concise context. So going to Anushka, you're over to you.
A very good evening, first of all, sir. I'd like to ask
Good
you that
evening.
talked about how journalism can be taught to people as well. You believe in that. So, sir, I'd like to ask
No,
you
no,
that.
I believe in both the dictum. I say that, yeah, journalists. There are people who are born with the journalistic instincts, but the same kind of people can also be taught at a mass communication school how to become a good journalist, right?
Okay, sir. So I'd like to ask that what are some certain activities apart from writing? You've already talked about writing, but what are certain activities that we as students who are interested in journalism can participate in to develop our skills for the career?
Activities. See, not very long ago, even when I was studying my career, or even after that, when you mention the word reporter, the image one would constitute of a person who, not reporter, a journalist. You said that I'm a journalist, so the person we're talking to would make an image that a person must be going out and talking to people, chasing politicians, chasing policemen, and writing report on a notepad and come back to the office and file it. That was the image of a journalist. And if you talk about more stereotypes, he wears a kurta and carries a sling bag and wears a chappal. So that was the kind of an image, right? Not very long ago, 20 years ago. But from that, journalism has come a long way. That image was just an image of a reporter. Even that time, there has to be a bigger number of journalists who put together a newspaper who are unknown to the rest of the world, who work on the desk, who work behind the scene, who are designers, who are illustrators. Their name we don't know, but they are equally important because reporters are what? Reporters are those who bring raw material, and a battery of workers who work behind the scene. They are the ones who put together those raw material to dish out a complete product in front of you, the reader, right? So they are equally important, aren't they? If you go to a restaurant and ask for some dish, so you can't serve you raw paneer or raw matar or raw spices. It has to be cooked well, and it has to be served very attractively. So it's same with the newspaper. Those who work behind the scene, they do the same what the chef does. So the servitors are also called master chefs because they are the ones who put together all the ingredients brought by the reporters and make the newspaper a very attractive product so that reader gets interested and reads it. So there are a lot many activities apart from writing that you can do. You can one activity I would suggest that you open a sports page and try to convert the stories. Like sports reports are written a very a very hard facts, like this happened. If you how do you write in a feature in form of a feature? So because that is the that is a newspaper writing, the new kind of a newspaper writing, because newspapers now don't break news, right?
Right.
If you take out a newspaper and start reading, so I think apart from the stories on the local pages, most of reports you already know. 60-70% reports you already know. Front page, most of the front page reports already know in previous
Absolutely.
days, from previous days TV news, or from your website, or from Twitter, or from Instagram. You already know all those. So how the reader will still be interested in a newspaper? So the writing has to be different. You can't just inform the reader about something which happened previous day, because we say it's news chain. Newspapers are the last link in the news chain. First is
Okay.
digital, then radio, then TV, then and it all ends on the same day. Newspaper, the lacuna with the newspaper is that it will reach you, the reader, the next day. So how to make something which will which will reach your reader the next day, and it will have 60% stale news, still make it interesting for the readers, so that they wait for it, they root for it, they read it, they spend time on it. So right, isn't you have, the writing has to be different from just a plain vanilla news report,
Right.
right?
This prompts me to say, visualize that today the nature of journalism has changed in a big way with the advent, particularly newspaper journalism, right?
Yeah,
And because when it comes to writing, the pattern of writing and the skill required is very different, because it is not
very
just
different.
about news anymore, because
Yeah, yeah,
it is news and analysis, because
yeah.
analysis is going to be your own than just the
Analysis,
data and the
analysis,
facts.
in-depth report, investigative report. These are the these are the tools which newspapers now use to make themselves relevant. Otherwise, if you dish out just what write just about what has happened, it won't attract the readers. I don't know. This is a technical term which newspapers use, that inverted pyramid style of writing. Inverted
Okay.
pyramid of style of writing is that you start from the most important facts from the top, and then as you go down the order, you just narrate lesser important facts. So that style, now there's a growing debate whether this style is still relevant, because the most important things which you try to bring forth in the opening paragraph, it is no more new to the reader already knows them. So shouldn't be you go and bring in some in-depth knowledge about the story, and put it that on the top. So all these are all the evolution of the writing style.
This also brings me to before I again go back to Anushka and Rahul to ask question. I could see Nikunj was constantly trying to be with us. I'm sorry, Nikunj, there's a signal issue. If you could join in again, we'll be more than happy to have you on. Now, this one thought and inquiry coming to my mind for young aspirants. Now, there are two opportunities in the field of journalism. One is electronic, and other is the print media itself. That's print media, that is magazines and the news papers, and electronic media is your radio, TV, and all. So, how are these two fields different from the career point of view for youngsters?
Again, it depends on what interests you more. Since I have been associated with media schools also, so I can say this, that in the past, especially after the advent of satellite television, uh, if there is a batch of say 30 students, 20 of them want to become a TV journalist because of the glamour. They all
Right,
idolize some big names. I won't take names here, so that
right,
I want to become that. I want this. So and very few will be interested in print, because print
right.
is is a slow medium. It is creative. It is much more creative, but it's a slow medium, and it doesn't give you that kind of instant fame which which the fame which drags attracts many young youngsters to the profession. They just see that oh, it's so famous. I'll interact with the chief minister. I will interact with the prime minister. If I become a journalist, I will interact with the big bureaucrats. So if you go to come to the field with that kind of ambition, so it won't offer that instant you won't get that instant gratification, because it's a shortcut. I don't think the shortcuts are very it can be taken as an exception. It's not a rule. It is in any profession, not only in mass communication, mass media. It's in any profession. So if you're going to television, there has to be reason, and not just the glamour. You have, if you're going to television, you must assess yourself that you are very, your diction is good, your speaking power is good. You, like, I can't be a good TV journalist. I know that because I'm not that fluent in speaking as it is required. So I'm better suited for the print.
You're more fluent with your pen rather than with your coverage, but then you speak with so much of clarity, sir, that I'm sure our young minds are going to get inspired. Before we take Anushka or Rahul, they have any other inquiry that they have. There's a viewer here who's saying Sanjay Sharma, who's probably wants to know more about field of commerce, but I would like to tell you, Sanjay. You're right now, because it is career conclave and we are going theme by theme. So we are in today's episode, we are not talking about career in the field of commerce as such, but then just to help your satisfy your inquisitiveness, I would say that with commerce, there are two kind of careers that you can have. One which use commerce, where commerce is required, and other where even if commerce may not be a direct eligibility requirement, but then you can still go for that as a career. And one such career is mass communication itself. And in the field of journalism, in the presence of Mr. Praveen Kumar, I would just like to share it. He would correct me and bail me out if I go wrong while I share that with you. Even in the field of journalism and mass media, there is a direct career opportunity where commerce will be used. There is a, if you look into newspapers and magazines, you have a business page, you have a economic times or as a complete page, or there are a lot of financial and economic magazines. Even in electronic media, there are channels where it's just focusing on commerce and economic issues. So where the background of commerce can be very, very handy for pursuing career in the field of commerce. Praveenji, anything you would like to throw light in this context?
That is what I'm trying to add, that earlier the media school would teach what? Just reporting and editing. But now there are lot many electives that they separately teach sports journalism, they teach business journalism, they teach parliamentary reporting, they teach defense reporting. So these are just the new media. New media is the cyber journalism, and then there is a citizen journalism also. So all these things are now these streams. Many teach them formally as a separate elective, and many teach them as a part of the reporting curriculum. So if one is focused from the beginning that one wants to specialize in a one particular stream, there is always opportunity. All media schools are now they're very they teach electives in a very professional manner.
All right. So Anushka, Rahul, you have any further inquiry? You can go ahead. Anushka wants to ask something, it seems. Yes, Anushka.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'd like to ask you that popular belief has been that political journalism is considered especially difficult. So, would you please share why is this a popular belief? And as somebody who's personally interested in the same, I'd like to ask if there are any tips or advices that you'd like to offer for political journalism.
Normally, political journalism is not difficult, but it comes with the experience. In the beginning of your career, it's very difficult to become a political journalist because you have to have a basic the basic tenets of reporting, right? Like normally what newspapers what they do, they make a political reporter after he has logged in about 5 to 10 years in city reporting and reporting of civic issues, reporting of universities, reporting of educational institutions, the reporting of crime. If one reporter has seen all these things, then it is supposed that he has been properly groomed, because political reporting is especially in I can say about Uttar Pradesh and Bengal, they are highly political charged states.
Right.
right? So you have to understand the dynamics. You have to understand the equations of political parties. You have to understand politicians speak. When a politician speaks, you have to read between the lines. You may be saying something, you may be meaning something. So, for all this, if you have to have a certain kind of experience, a certain amount of experience to all to gauge all these things. So that is why it's not difficult, but it comes with the experience. I would say it's not difficult because
So
you have to
very
know all
true.
the rules and regulations. You have to, if suppose you are sent for parliament reporting or some assembly reporting, so you have to know that what is the question now, or what is what is how the what are the start question, what are the start questions, all these things you have to know. You can't know straight away in the beginning of your career. If you spend some time, you have to read, you have to study all these things, then only you can become a good political reporter. So of course all these things will come with time, it can't come instantly.
Right. And I would like to add to it, Anushka, whatever little I understand. एक simple terms में अगर बात करें, घर में हम किसी से कुछ बोल देते हैं, दोस्त से कुछ बोल देते हैं, एक स्टेटमेंट, उस पे तो कितने झगड़े हो जाते हैं, राइट? बहुत सारे रिलेशनशिप्स इधर से उधर हो जाते हैं. सोच के देखिए, जब आप एक न्यूज़पेपर में एक लाइन लिखेंगे जो छप के लाखों
Yeah,
लोगों तक जाएगी, या आप एक टेलीविजन पे एक
yeah.
लाइन लिखेंगे, it is going to decide fate of
No,
many.
especially with newspapers, I would say, uh, uh, since there's a lot there's a lot of debate going on the fake news, on unsubstantiated news. So in such a time, newspapers have managed to retain their credibility only because they are in black and white. That it
Absolutely.
something which has been published, it can't be retracted. So what is published, it is taken care of in a very the processed in a very careful manner. And the newspapers drawback that they come to the reader, they reach reader 24 hours. That time lag, it gives newspapers and also an opportunity to check and recheck their facts, which television channels, they in the rush for breaking news, they sometimes are not able to do. So
Ah,
the newspapers. So what is the drawback of newspapers? It becomes an opportunity also for them to go through the facts and check them, and go with them only after proper research. So that is why the credibility, a newspaper, a TV channel, it can run a trigger and retract it. But a newspaper, if something has been published on a newspaper, it can't be taken back.
it can
So
be taken.
you can say that this drawback is also a newspaper's strength. That since it can't be taken back, newspapers publish something only when it is totally verified.
It sounds like quite Salman Khanish that एक बार जो हमने commitment कर दी, so एक बार जो
हाँ,
हमने news लिख दी, उसके बाद हम उसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते because it is already
हाँ,
published. But
हाँ,
that's on a lighter note. That's a very relevant question. Political journalism is a very sensitive area, and yes, it is a very important genre also to get into because, in fact, if we go by the science of it, news and politics go in hand, and almost every dimension of our life has an element of politics because politics is not what politicians do. जो नेता करते हैं वो politics नहीं है. Polity is a state, and whatever happens in a state, when it is reported, it is about being political, and that is how it is. And I know that we are running against time, but then I would like to take one last question, Praveenji. We have I would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Manoj Kumar Panda. He's a principal of the Jan International School in Kanpur. I could see that he's there viewing our program and has been appreciating the session in his comments. Also has raised a statement, query, which I would like to throw at you, and that is content marketing is a new addition in the field of new media and quite popular during pandemic. What is
yeah,
your take on
yeah.
this?
Yeah. Again, I said content and verified content and good content is always in demand, and it's marketing. It's whosoever I say it for the young journalists that when they plan a career, they shouldn't look themselves just confined just to a reporter or a desk person. There are a lot many opportunities. There are corporate communicators. You can join a corporate house as their communicator. You can join even the government organizations which are quite averse to having all these things in the earlier. Now you will find all government departments have their corporate communicators who try to build up the image of the department, or good work done by the spread word about the good work done by their minister or their officer. So content the dimension of content has really widened. It's not just a newspaper or a TV or something. Yes, you have an immense opportunity now as what it used to be earlier in our times.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anushka. Thank you, Rahul, for being with us today and helping and assisting us in this Career Conclave 2020 by HLS India to ask questions which are relevant to your age appropriate context, which I'm sure audience in your age group is going to identify with. Thank you for being with us and assisting us take this conversation forward. Thank you, Anushka. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you.
Praveen, it's really been a pleasure having you here and help us out get a perspective in your through your experience sharing. Your final words to young people who aspire to be a journalist or a reporter, make a career in the media world. Those who are wanting to but not sure, what would be your final word to them?
I would say that it's exciting. It's a very exciting world, and it's a very good time to be a journalist. And but two things I would suggest: they shouldn't go after the glamour, and then they
Okay.
shouldn't go after shouldn't try for shortcuts. You have
Okay.
to go through the grind. You should learn basics first instead of going straight away for the stardom.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for these profound words. Do not go for glamour can be a byproduct. Luxury cannot be the decision making factor. The nature of work, the ethics of it is what is the primary focus. Is what Mr. Praveen Kumar says when you are talking about making a career in journalism. Besides other logical, analytical dimension, the writing skill and the reading skill is a very important skill sets that you need to build up if you aspire to be a journalist. Something which is very, very important. He said that there are different dimensions of journalism. There are different dimensions of writing. A lot of people say that I cannot speak so fluently. Can I go for journalism? Yes, you surely can go for journalism because the written journalism, the print media is there, and the electronic media. Journalism is not all about coming in front of camera. It's about taking the news, fact, and analysis to people, and that's what Praveen Kumarji emphasized with us. Thank you so much, Praveenji, for being with us in Career Conclave 2020. I found it very enriching. I'm sure your words will give a lot of insight to our young friends there. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks. Pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks.
Friends, you are watching Career Conclave 2020 and you were listening to Praveen Kumar, President Editor, Times of India, Lucknow, with us for last 1 hour trying to answer all our questions and queries. Hope you found it enriching. We are committed till 24th of this month, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in two slots, 4 p.m. one professional, 5 p.m. another. We are going to get experts and the people who have become success stories in their career to talk to you and give you insight in their profession. We are at 5 o'clock. We are again going to be there with you with a session, an interaction on digital marketing. We are becoming a digital world, digital citizen, and digital marketing is a big buzzword. And we are going to have Sabni Chakrabarti with us, talking and enlightening us with her experience on digital marketing. Stay tuned to Career Conclave 2020, brought to you by HLS India and media partner, The School Times.